Hey folks, it's been a while since you heard from me, but while working on the soundtrack database of Inazuma and some other Genshin songs, I noticed more and more people are getting confused on what are these letters you see in every week's video and what do they mean. So this video is explaining exactly that, and the reason behind the system we've chosen to represent chord progressions. Music has the power to send us on very different journeys, but in order to achieve the fidelity and the depth of emotion, you need to know how to masterfully craft a melody, good harmony to go with it, and a solid structure to convey your musical idea. All these three elements are the bare bone of every piece, and to a certain extent, we analyze them in details. So, harmony is a discipline that teaches how to stack and progress vertical blocks of sounds. Form is a discipline that teaches how to structure different musical ideas in a coherent and logic manner, much like a public speech. Together they form the basis of a musical idea alongside the melody. We're actively looking to invest time and resource into sections like melody for a complete overview, and with your support, I hopefully will achieve that alongside my studio. Music is made up of notes, which are organized in scales. A scale typically has 7 unique notes, like C major consisting of these. But instead of letters, let's assign them Roman numerals. Why? Well, freedom. Imagine we're going to transpose the scale to, let's say, F sharp. Now we have to change the letters all over for every key. But with numerals, they stay the same, we just indicate the key we're in. To reference them properly, let's call them degrees of the scale. So if I say the 3rd degree of E flat major, I'll mean this. If I say the 6th degree of F minor harmonic, I'll mean this, and so on and on. Now we mentioned that we work with blocks of sound stacked vertically. Well, let's add for the 1st degree of C major 2 additional sounds stacked a third apart. So this construction you're looking at is known as a triad. Now let's do the same for every other degree as well by taking the notes that are already in the scale and respecting the stacking a third apart rule. In the end, we have all the possible triads for C major, which are also conveniently serving certain functions, and we're going to refer to them as such. Now, if we use only triads for making music, it's going to sound blocky and boring, which is why we need variety. So to achieve it, let's think about how we can rearrange the triad while keeping the degree the same. Let's take whatever chord we're given and jump the lowest note an octave higher, and that would be an inversion. For every triad, we have 1 root position and 2 inversions. And the numbers near the degree are the so-called figured bass, or the intervals that you add above the bass. Keep in mind that for our own commodity, we can write the same inversions an octave higher or lower, doesn't matter, to not deal with multiple legend lines. Now you tell me what happens when instead of triads we have to work with 7th chords. That's right, in essence we just stack 1 more note to the 5th and we get a 7th. And so we get 1 more inversion. And you see on the screen how we invert these types of chords as well and why they bear the numbers they do. Now how about 9th chords? Well, for the classical romantic system, 9th chords were only used without any inversions, since they're very tricky to invert without running into positioning issues. So look, if we say 9th or 11th, 13th and on chords, we only need them in their root position. Any other complicated chord can be a combination of 7 chords with additions. Knowing that, we can finally explain defining letters. Alright, back to the degrees. So we take these and we replace them with those letters. So T for tonic, S for subdominant, and D for dominant. The most important functions in the scale, hence why the letters. I want to mention that double dominants are also important functions that we notate with letters. They are a sort of major 2nd degree function, but their role is usually to signal a modulation to the key of the dominant. Double subdominants or SS are the same concept. but replacing the need for a 7th natural degree, we can write them either ways. And just a few more details. Imagine we have this 7th chord, but all of a sudden the 3rd is missing. Now, how do we name this one? Well, since we know that the tonic is C major, that means that the dominant is the 5th degree. So let's write D7, indicating it's a 7th chord in root position. And what about a lovely -3 to indicate that the 3rd is missing? That seems fitting. And what if the 5th is missing too? And what if we have a note that does not belong to the chord, let's say a 6th? Then how about a plus? So let it be a +6. And here we have our unusual chord. As you notice, sometimes we have multiple pluses and minuses, depending on how the composer wants. Now, if we need to alter a note in the chord, we can always write flat or sharp, meaning the note is either half step up or down. So now we can understand which are the elements of the symbols and the meaning behind them, which gives you the possibility to notate a sequence of chords by symbols. Now let's bring the heavy guns. Inflection is a slight dip to a different key. Well, let's say we dip from A minor to C major, then again back to our home key. It'll be shown through an arrow, basically saying that this chord is from the key of this degree. Borrowed chords work similarly to inflections, but instead of us finishing the inflection, we just borrow these chords without bringing them to their temporary home, which is why we put the degree we're dipping in to parentheses. Modulation is probably the hardest of them all. It means that we're moving away from our current key completely. We put an equal sign depending on the situation to mark the crucial function where the key changes. Basically, all this I've laid out for you in this video is also present in the Harmony Handbook, link to which is in the description as well. And formally that's it. Now you know. To everybody else who don't really care about harmony, that's completely fine. We also have you covered because what you see on the screen is already a transcription, and you can just play it on the piano and already gain a good understanding of how the piece moves, what are the themes, and on, without you even having to know anything about harmony. It's just good exercise, especially for those who only start their journey with the piano and they have a soundtrack they love. I mean, it's a double win, so absolutely, go for it. That's all. I want to thank all of our Patreons for continuous dedication, continuous support, continuously being interested in the project, and as well all the studio members and all the community for helping out, exchanging opinions, and basically being interested and active in both Genshin music and as well as the theoretical side of it. I couldn't have really asked for more. Very grateful, guys. And to everybody else, thank you for watching this video. If you find it useful, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and help us break the mold that is, 1K subscribers. If you have any other questions, I'll be waiting you in the comments below. Take care and see you in the next chord.